I guess I have had a unique journey. For 40 years, I was an interior designer, but I had been trained as a fine artist at Carnegie in Pittsburgh and Italy. And when I got married for the third time, having been single for 19 years and running my business and raising my children, I married this wonderful man named Bob Mueller, and we moved to New Hampshire. And it was time to do my art full time. I'd been trying to do it at night while I was running my business after my kids were asleep. But I finally got the chance and the opportunity to do this very full time. I've been working at being an artist since I'm 5, probably, maybe 4. And I used to lie under a pear tree in my backyard and look up at the sky and hope I could be an artist. And quite frankly, when I realized what I just said, I've been drawing and painting trees my whole life, and that was where it started. What I used to do when I was running the business and raising my children was I would work at night as much as I could, from about 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock, and work until 2 o'clock in the morning if I could keep it going. It was hard, and therefore it wasn't consistent. So I think that's why it never really evolved then. So then I got to come up here, and we built this building where my studio is. And as you can see, I have a ladder that allows me to create some pretty large work. I stand on the ladder when I do the tall paintings, and it's very exciting because there's a physicality to all of this, as there is with working on the Yupo paper, which has its own physical relationship that I have embraced over the last 12 years. So I started working on Yupo paper about 11 years ago. And I saw it online. I didn't know anything about it. It was a paper it's a commercial paper that somebody along the way figured out you could do art on, I guess like Mylar or anything else. And I first started working with graphite on it. And there's no texture, so it's not stable, which in itself was something that appealed to me because I feel like my life and life in general, for many people, is very not stable, so it resonated with me. And I figured out through various means a lot of different medium that'll work on it. And I embraced that. And the journey to work completely on something that's unstable and you have to figure out how to do it and make it feel permanent was part of the liminal space that I feel like I've lived in for a good part of my life. So I've lived in about 19 different places, and the one thing that's always been steady for me is the landscape. The ground is always there. So I think about liminal space a lot, the space in between my various places I've lived. I've been married 3 times, was single for a long time. And so it's always the space in between that I've been trying to come to terms with. And it shows up in my work in many ways as it's changed. When I start a new piece, I usually make a basic composition. And then the fact that I'm working on paper that doesn't have stability, the medium also is part of the whole process and how it forms on the paper. When I was working with graphite, the graphite didn't hold, so I would have to figure out how to make it work. And now I work a lot with watercolor, and as maybe you can see, some of them are pretty large. And I use spray, water to make it move, and it'll move by itself, and that in itself I respond to. So my latest work, I've done work where there were people, but they were in response to the movement of what's happening in the world. And my most current work, which is called Keep the Beauty While Walking in the Mud, or Trudging in the Mud, is all about what's happening in our world today. And I'm hoping that I'm making a statement about holding on to what we own and not letting it disappear as we trudge through these times that we are living in.